How do you transform a cold, cavernous church into a futuristic house? Or turn dilapidated old barns into stylish family homes? From industrial workshops to ancient windmills, this series follows brave homeowners.
Initially, when we took it on, it was just falling apart.
As they take on the seemingly impossible challenges.
That isn't going to happen until next year, never mind 3 weeks' time.
It's absolutely barreling down.
Of transforming historic structures never built to be lived in. We explore the ancient master crafts and ingenious modern design it takes to build an impossible house.
It's another bit of history saved.
In this episode, a determined couple.
These things are sent to try us, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting it right.
Battle torrential weather.
All we need is a bit of dry weather and we can get the rest done.
Yeah.
Precious fittings.
Ooh, got it. Just.
And tight deadlines.
I keep thinking it's close and we're nearly there, but actually we are still quite a long way.
As they blend very old with ultra new to transform this historic church into a supersize, futuristic family home.
I'm too excited to look. Oh, feels like it's starting to be a house.
Using age-old skills and modern technology, can they overcome the colossal challenge of reconfiguring this religious relic for the third millennium? Kimberley and Jerry Coates live on the edge of West Yorkshire. The couple is used to seeing ambitious building projects come to life.
These were probably boarding at low level.
Jerry, a joiner by trade, runs his own construction company.
I've done renovation work before on churches and schools and stuff like that, where we've bought them from dilapidated state and turned them into flats, houses.
Kimberley's got an eye for interiors.
It's more of a design aesthetic thing for me. The things that make it livable and comfortable and look nice.
Now it's time for them to join forces and put their passions into their own project to create a dream home for themselves. They plan to reconfigure this early 1900s church in the historic heart of Aberford. Aberford Methodist Church was completed in 1912 and designed by local architect Henry Ascough Chapman. It was a place of worship for 100 years before standing unoccupied from 2014.
I'd been trawling houses for sale in this village for 2 years, and then when this came along, I saw it, rang Jerry and thought, this is definitely for us. And he came the same day and put an offer in there and then, so it was a really quick decision that this was the right property. We just knew.
This rundown building was never designed to be lived in, but together they have plans to turn it into a state-of-the-art 21st century pad.
I could see potential, but obviously it's actually turning that potential into something. And you don't get the vastness of the actual project until you actually get in and have a look at the size of it. And you think, wow, that'd be great to turn into a family home.
They've sold their 5-bedroom house to help fund the build. Jerry's 3 sons have left home. So now Kimberley, Jerry and Kimberley's 2 teenage daughters are living in this 2-bed, 1-bath bungalow until the church is resurrected.
It's cramped. It's an awful lot smaller than our other house, and sharing a bathroom is not something I want to do for very long.
The reconfigured church will be 609 square metres. That's almost 7 times the size of the bungalow. And with plans for 5 ensuite bedrooms, there'll be no more queuing for the bathroom. Kimberley and Jerry want to knock down 2 extensions, but keep the main shell of the church. Its ground floor will be an open-plan lounge and cinema area. and above it, a floating mezzanine pod with the master suite. Around the church, they want to build a modern extension with a large kitchen, diner and living space on the ground floor. A bespoke floating staircase will lead to the first floor and 4 more ensuite double bedrooms. A flat roof with solar panels and a 2-car garage complete the transformation from tired old church into a bright 21st century smart home. Construction maestro Jerry will project manage the build while Kimberley masterminds the design.
I'm more excited about how we're going to use the house. Things that are going to make it easier for us in there. Things like I want a laundry chute where it all just goes straight into the utility room so that I don't have to carry armfuls of laundry downstairs every 5 seconds. I really want it to be modern inside with a nod to the history of the house.
We want to keep its character and try to maintain as much of the church features as we possibly can. We plan on making it a smart home so that we can use laptop type thing to turn off all the lights and the alarms. This is a project that is going to take some running and doing, but it's a challenge, and we like a challenge.
Kimberley and Jerry have got a healthy budget to turn their plans into reality.
We bought it for $550. We're expecting to spend around $650, $7, we'll see.
They're anticipating this mammoth project will take around a year. Jerry's project manager, and the first job, knock down the old to make way for the new. The team needs to demolish the extensions and dig out the floor inside the church. They must then erect a steel frame to support the floating pod and pour over 8 tons of concrete into the pit to create the floor. They'll dig out foundations for the new extension, which will be twice as big as the old ones, and then build up a steel framework for the walls and raise the brickwork up to the first floor. Finally, they'll replace the old tiles on the church and top the extension with a flat roof to finish the house and make it watertight. After 12 weeks, phase 1 is complete and the new exterior shell is up. And at 338 square meters, it has more than doubled the footprint of the home. Now the real work begins inside. Jerry and the team must fit around 1,500 meters of timber battens to the interior brickwork and clad them with insulated plasterboard to keep the chill out of this cavernous void. It's a huge challenge.
There's quite a lot of original walls that are out of level and out of plumb, so we've tried to make it as straight as possible. All the walls are latted to make them all straight, and then we've fit in the plasterboard to that, which gives us nice clean lines, but also picking out the features that are left original, which is like the arches, the windows, the stonework, and the beams.
The original features will be in complete contrast to the floating bedroom pod that is slowly growing out of the ground. The staircase will be one of the last things to go in. So for now, a good old-fashioned ladder does the trick.
The lads are on with now building the walls to enclose the bedroom. Once these walls are up, you get a proper visual of what size it's actually going to be.
The team erects a timber frame to form the skeleton of the master bedroom, then clads it with plasterboard. Above the master suite, the church's original pitch pine beams will form a key feature inside the pod.
We've exposed them all and then sandblasted them to bring them back to the original character, to show the grain coming through, and they'll just stay as they are now.
While Jerry works hard to preserve the building's heritage, in the new extension, Kimberley has got free rein to work on the blank canvas that will become the kitchen.
I knew that I wanted something quite striking and quite kind of out of the box. And the worktop is not too far away from being black in the same colour as the door. So obviously people would normally have a contrasting worktop, and I didn't want that. I wanted it to look really blocky. It took Jerry a little while to get his head around the black kitchen. Being a joiner, he likes lots of wood around him, and I don't really, so it was finding that balance. But yeah, he's really, really on board with it now. There's very few decisions that I've made that he's gone, oh no. He kind of just leaves that to me.
So Jerry's taking his love of wood outside. He plans to clad the blockwork of the new extension in strips of timber to create an eye-catching yet durable facade.
The lads are on with giving a coat of stain. It's a manufactured timber. In theory, you could put it underwater and it wouldn't twist or shake, it wouldn't expand. It stays perfectly straight and perfectly joined together. It lasts about 25 to 50 years, this material.
The team needs to seal the blockwork before they attach the timber cladding. To do this, they use a waterproof silicone render. But winter rain causes major problems.
Last night it came down terribly, and we had it protected but not protected well enough, and it all just washed off. Which is why we've got all the temporary boarding up to try to keep the water and moisture off it and try to get it to dry out.
You've got to make sure your backing is dry before you start. Your blockwork, everything's dry. It's just dependent on the weather. That's the bugbear of it, you're just dependent on the weather.
We're just trying to help it along a little bit so we can get this top silicone coat on, which once that dries and sets, the water won't penetrate that whatsoever then. Yeah, that's come up fantastic, hasn't it? All we need is a bit of dry weather and we can get the rest done.
Yeah.
The exterior is just as important as the inside for this build. The church, although set back from the road, has near neighbours, and it's key to Kimberley and Jerry that it blends into its surroundings.
Initially, we felt an enormous responsibility to the village as a whole. It's a very close-knit community, and we knew, this place has got a lot of history. Lots of people that live in the village were married or christened here, so we really felt the weight of that. And I think what's been really, really nice is that people from the village have just walked onto site and, said hello and asked if they can have a look around. So all the feedback we've had has been really, really positive.
The team has made giant leaps forward with the exterior of the extension. They've fitted the timber cladding and are now applying the waterproof silicone render to the blockwork.
All coming together, brilliant now. We're lucky this week, we've got a clear run of weather, so that's why we're cracking on with it. This is a finishing coat that goes on at 1.3 millimetre. Any thicker and it runs, so it's got to go on really thin, and it gives us a lovely finish. As long as we get no rain on it tonight, it'll be fine.
With the outside nearing completion, inside, the new floating pod in the main body of the church is also taking shape. The insulated plasterboard's up on the walls and the huge windows are in. Kimberley's trying to get her head around the decor.
So this is our master bedroom, and in all honesty, I'm really, really struggling with the space. I just can't see it at all. Even when the platform was first built, I couldn't see how big it was going to be. I couldn't work out how the windows were going to look. And then when the windows went in, they looked completely different to how I thought they would look. I thought it was going to be glass all the way to the ceiling. I have no idea how to decorate it, and it really is keeping me up at night.
Creating a modern home inside an historic structure is never going to be easy. And these beautiful places of worship throw up more than their fair share of obstacles. All Saints Church in Bramham, 10 minutes down the road from Aberford, is Grade 2 listed. Dating back to the 12th century, it's quite a bit older than Kimberley and Jerry's church, but it still has the same issues. Top of the list is its thermal performance. Churches are notoriously chilly. Warming a huge hollow shell takes some thought and expertise. But that's not the only task. How do you carve up what is basically one big room? For a home, you need to think about different rooms, different sizes for different purposes. And maybe that's the biggest challenge. How do you convert a church but keep its soul? Jerry's devised innovative solutions to problems like this. Where he's had to strip out original features to make way for the 21st century additions, he's found creative new homes for them.
This window we carefully took down, managed to store to one side while we got the new walls up. One of our bricklayers managed to install it back into one piece again. It's going to be glazed with a mirrored glass into this new entrance area.
Giving the century-old window a facelift is just one of the upgrades going on here. It's no mean feat keeping a church toasty, so they're installing underfloor heating across the entire ground floor.
We've gone overboard with the insulation, so we should have no problems with keeping it warm, hopefully.
They've laid down special insulation boards onto the concrete floor. These have tracks on top for 2,000 metres of plastic piping to clip into. Pumps channel hot water through the pipes to heat the property. This modern way of warming the 107-year-old structure is one of many innovative techniques being used to transform this vast cold shell into a comfortable family home.
It's going to become a smart home where everything is worked off like an iPad type computer, so a lot of wiring involved in setting all that up.
They're installing more than 7 miles of cables into this home. The family want to control anything electrical in the house remotely, like turning on the TVs and the home music system, turning on the heating, or lighting up the fireplace. To make this possible, the builders must lay 7 miles of cabling for power, lights and data inside the walls and ceilings, without damaging the original features of the church. Finally, they have to link all the cabling together into a central hub in the kitchen's pantry, so the family can control their clever home at the touch of a button.
We have to colour code every single cable in the building. If not, we would not have a clue what cable did what, basically.
Chief Electrician Ash Bowker is responsible for making sure each cable is in the correct place. There's no room for error.
We'd have major problems if we didn't get a cable in on there. We've got to make sure everything's in. There's no going back at all. Once it's plastered, it's plastered. Where you hide the cables as well, you know. You've got to think about keeping the look of the old building. It's just not an easy place to work in an old building like a church, really.
But the smart technology will help shine a light on the building's original beauty.
Well, Jerry wanted to light up all the old features. With the new smart system, we've got the ground lights that shine up onto the existing trusses of the building, and he wanted to light up all the old stained glass windows. So on a night, that would be a really nice feature for him. So there'll be a lot of lights going up and a lot of lights coming down, and it'll make this a real showpiece, this church area.
As well as highlighting the original charm of the building, design tricks are giving character to the new additions. In the hallway, master craftsman Andy Robinson gives the walls a traditional textured finish called polished plaster before the team fits the floating staircase. The finish is an updated version of the classic Venetian plaster, where marble dust or marble chips are mixed with the plaster to create a marble-like finish. It's a slow and skilled process.
We've left this to dry for the last couple of weeks. Now we're back on site to add the finishing touches. So we're going to sand it, machine polish it, and then we're going to put like a colour wash over it just to finish it off.
It takes 8 coats of the lime-based plaster, applied over 8 days, to perfect the uneven finish of the hallway, designed to link the new build with the old church. Every year, historic, disused churches are being transformed into modern homes across the UK. Tim Self and his partner Annie Lacey bought the Grade 2 listed Holy Trinity Church in the Berkshire village of Graiseley in 2016, after it had been standing empty for 10 years. It took 51 weeks of work to reconfigure the structure into a spectacular 4-bedroom home.
This is a Victorian church. It was finished in 1850, so it's 169 years old. When we first bought the building, it was very tired. The drains were blocked, the water started to soak through the walls, and it was all stained. It looked pretty sorry for itself. We decided that what we wanted was, although it was a Victorian church, it would be a Victorian church that's useful for today and is comfortable to live in. So what we've done is we've essentially bolted in a brand new house by means of a big steel frame.
The church not only retains its vaulted ceilings, stained glass windows, and many original features, but also has a contemporary cantilevered staircase that leads to the bedrooms, and a gallery that overlooks the ground floor living area.
I love the mezzanine floor, the gallery. I love to sit up there and watch things. Very proud of the lighting. I made the main light myself because we found that to get a bespoke light made was going to cost us about £25,000.
This creative light fitting was put together for just under £2,000. And it's just one of the many features here that can be controlled from a phone or a tablet. But despite all of the smart technology, it's the bones of the building that give it its charm, like the beautiful window in the master bedroom.
We have such a lovely light bedroom and the sunsets are amazing, and we've got a chance to put the bathroom here to really show off. The power of this building is in the architecture and the features that are here. And what we really wanted to do was make use of all of those features and show them off to the maximum potential. It's part of the reason that we did this whole thing, to make sure that that all gets preserved and is kept for the future.
It's spring in Aberford, and Jerry's team is making good headway. Outside, they're using local Yorkshire sandstone to construct the boundary walls. Inside, the master suite in the floating pod has been painted, and plumbing and electrics are in. But with Jerry's workers often called away to work on other projects his company has taken on, things are moving slower than planned.
We're hoping to get in by June, so it's quite important stages now. It's all the finishing off parts that everybody sees, so it has to be spot on. We have to make it right. It is exciting, but it's also a bit nerve-wracking.
An ambitious goal with June just 2 months away, but things are moving in the right direction. In the hallway, the polished plaster wall is finished, and they're installing one of this home's most striking new features, the bespoke cantilever staircase. It was designed locally in Yorkshire and cost a pretty penny at £38,000. They secure each solid oak tread into the wall on one side. This creates the illusion that the staircase floats. Louis Zatrak is one of the team who designed the staircase.
The steel construction is within the wall and the treads are bolted all the way through the wall and fixed on the other side, which is actually in the garage.
This creates a problem. The garage is single-storey, but the stairway leads up to the first floor.
The problem that we came across was on the other side, the garage ceiling finished, so we had to use a completely different method of fixing the upper treads. They have shorter studs, which don't go all the way through the wall because obviously you don't want these exposed on the outside. So these are just chemically fixed into the wall.
They squeeze adhesive into the holes in the wall, then bolt the tread into place.
This lines up nicely.
The next challenge, to fit the top of the staircase on the landing. This strip of oak is called a nosing, and the glass balustrade needs to slot into it.
It's a bit tricky because the finished floor isn't in place. There's an MDF floor which resembles the finished floor.
But there's a problem. The temporary floor has been cut right to the edge of the landing. This leaves no room for the nosing. Jerry can't resist getting involved to cut it back.
With me being on site all the time, if something's gone wrong with it, we're not quite sure about, they'll come up to me and say, what do you want to do with this? How do you want me to do this? You know, these things are sent to try us. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting it right, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. That's why they all come up and ask me all the time.
With the boss on the job, things are moving on. They're kitting out the new build extension with all the mod cons, and the mezzanine level pod in the main body of the church is beginning to resemble the master suite they've dreamt of. But with Jerry's workers often called to other jobs, there's still a way to go. The build is running behind schedule, which is sending them over budget.
I have absolutely no idea how far we are away from being complete. 6 weeks was banded around a couple of weeks ago, but I would still say we're probably at the 5-6 week mark.
In the hallway, all the treads of the bespoke floating staircase are now in. Today, the team is gearing up to fit the glass balustrade.
Yep, somewhere in the middle.
Louis and Artus used this special hoist to hold the massive piece of glass in place. The sheet weighs a whopping 77 kilos.
We are a bit too far away.
Ooh, got it. Just.
Slowly.
The holes in the glass must line up with the holes in the treads.
Right, so what I need you to do is go a little bit lower. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. It's in.
Yeah, one in.
The first piece may have slid into place without a hitch, but the second section, which sits higher, will be trickier. It weighs a hefty 65 kilos, making it very difficult to maneuver.
It's one knock and it's gone. I hope you got enough room on ceiling, eh? Quite close here. Makes these noises, eh? Makes you worry.
Like it's not nerve-wracking enough.
Wait a bit. Can you go upstairs and try slide it into that slot?
The glass panel must not only fit into a slot in the oak nosing, but also line up perfectly with the panel below.
Keep pushing. Yeah. Keep pushing.
Yep.
There you go. Be close. Be close.
Yeah, come on. Yep. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. It's in.
Looks great, that, doesn't it?
I'm looking forward to be able to walk upstairs instead of climbing a ladder. That's going to be very novel.
Brilliant.
The staircase is one of the brand new features in the home, but Kimberley's keen to make use of what she's saved from the heart of the church too.
I made him keep these tubes that were from the organ. They actually look quite robust, but they're not. They're really quite thin and tinny. My idea was to make some sort of wall art. That's honestly as far as I've got with the idea, but I'm determined to do something with them at some point.
In the kitchen, Andy uses polished plaster again to marry new with old. He applies a special black marble finish called marmorino. This technique dates back to the Roman times, but its popularity soared 500 years ago in Venice during the Renaissance. After 3 coats of plaster, they machine polish, wax, and buff the wall to give it a distinctive gleam. Kimberley's come to see the results for the first time.
I'm too excited to look. Oh, it's perfect. It's absolutely exactly what I wanted. It ties in with the unit. We're going to have this big bronze mirror there. It's just going to be amazing. It feels like it's starting to be a house. Excellent. It's amazing.
The polished plaster wall will be the focal point of the kitchen. Inside the historic section of the home, the huge stained glass or leaded light window catches your eye. Kimberley and Jerry love this stained glass window so much they're working with a local company who specialise in glazing historic buildings to upgrade the glasswork to modern standards.
This is essentially a medieval craft. In medieval times, this was predominantly placed in churches and castles, that sort of thing. Then gradually it became more available to the masses.
Today, most stained glass window work focuses on restoration and repairs. That's because single-glazed, leaded light windows neither keep out the cold nor meet building regulations. Dave has devised an innovative solution to this problem, which unites beauty with functionality. He encloses the stained glass between two modern panes and seals them together with a lead frame.
In the case of Aberford, we can incorporate a traditionally made stained glass window within that double glaze unit, so you get all the advantages of the old technology combined with all the advantages of the new technology.
LED light maker Andy is working on one of the central panels of the church's window, and although the shape will stay the same, there's room for a personal touch.
This is the glass that Kimberley's chosen around the edge. We've got this is English antique glass. It's got streaks in it of colour. This is some sort of violet on clear.
Andy uses horseshoe nails to hold the individual pieces of glass in place.
Well, I've got all my pieces of glass. Now I'm leading them together, and when I've finished it, everywhere a lead touches a lead, it'll be soldered. And then I'll turn it over and solder it to the other side.
It's the solder that holds the design together in a stained glass window.
What Chris is doing here is soldering the panel. He's put tallow on it, which is a tallow candle. And that's a flux. It's slightly acidic. As the solder flows out, the acid goes in front of the molten metal and it's able to grip onto the lead and solder it all together. If you don't use the flux when you're soldering, the solder doesn't bond to the lead, it just falls off the lead.
It'll take around 8 weeks to complete the 13 individual panes and fit them into the double glazed units. On site, the window is now finally ready for installation. The skill and craftsmanship has not only taken time, but also taken a substantial £28,000 out of the budget, but it's worth every penny to Kimberley.
It feels like the crown and glory for the property, really. We've waited a long time for this. We've put a lot of time and thought into what we wanted, and you never know if it's going to pay off.
The church's surrounding countryside inspired Kimberley to choose the colour palette of the stained glass.
We've got this beautiful blue sky, we've got the fields over there that are a beautiful green colour. As the sun comes down, the sky's all pink and purple, and it's all beautiful. So I tried to kind of bring those colours from outside back in through the window.
First, they remove the old panes, then clean the stone grooves before they slot the new frames in. They must be careful not to damage the old stonework as they install the new window.
The stone has got cusps, which is where the stone comes to a point, and that's difficult to shape. You really don't want it to go wrong. That's quite a good fit.
It's always nice when it goes well.
Can't wait to see it all in. I think it'll look spectacular.
I think the most awkward part of it is going to be the bottom units. They're going to be heavier.
One of the larger panels won't go in.
They're a little bit tall, so we're going to have to take a little bit off the bottom. Touch wood, it's not a catastrophe.
I don't think they need our assistance.
No, I don't think they do.
If a pane doesn't fit, they must shave the lead to size. They never touch the historic fabric of the building. It takes a team of 3 to painstakingly fit every handmade panel perfectly.
We've met some fantastic people who are so passionate about what they do, and the stained glass window is the epitome of that, really.
Finally, all the panes are in.
I'm real pleased all the time that's been spent in workshop and every time everybody's put into it. It's nice to be able to get it in and it go well and it look right when you're finished.
I think it's looking absolutely fantastic. You see the colours reflecting through off the sunlight already. Really, really pleased.
I'm overwhelmed. It couldn't have turned out any better than it has. I'm just so pleased.
16 months after beginning work, the end is in sight, and it won't be long before Kimberley and Jerry's vision for this historic home is complete. It's been just over 2 years since Kimberley and Jerry bought their derelict church in West Yorkshire. Juggling business projects and their own home, along with some design alterations, means the job has gone 9 months over schedule and sent them over budget. But the extensive work has enabled them to more than double the size of this historic structure.
It's just really, really homely. It's huge, but it doesn't feel too big to live in.
Outside, they've cleaned and repointed the Yorkshire stone facade and added a new stone section to the right of the front door.
The building from the front doesn't give that much away. Yes, you can see the church, but you can't see any of this part. And then if you're walking around the back, you can't see the church at all. So it kind of holds onto its own, and it's only when you're walking around the building that you get a true idea of what's actually here.
What is here is a perfect blend of old and new. Inside, Kimberley and Jerry have created a spacious and stylish entrance hall with the rescued original window, the star of the show. The smart space connects the main body of the church to the new build.
The church is something that I really wanted to maintain its character and its style and its beauty. But we also wanted to make it into a home and also build something contemporary at the side of it.
The extension's home to the ultra-modern kitchen, dining and living areas all rolled into one and set out in an inverted L shape.
This room particularly, I knew exactly what I wanted, and this is exactly what I wanted.
Kimberley brought her vision of all black units and work surfaces to life, perfectly set off by the polished plaster wall. In the adjoining church, the up-to-the-minute theme continues in the old bones of the home, with the organ pipes now a piece of art, a reminder of the past. There's a cosy living area where the focal point is a fireplace and a high-tech cinema zone.
So in here, all the lighting, television, the music is all operated on the smart system, so you can switch everything on or off or change the lighting scene. I really like everything about this room. It's a really comfortable room. It's always really calming in here. It's really, really peaceful. It's a really nice space to be in.
And above it, the floating pod. It's home to the master suite, bedroom, dressing room, and bathroom. The original beams perfectly complement the clean lines, and the huge windows allow light to flood in from all directions.
We've got the view of the church window, which was quite a big thing. We really wanted to keep that. This is one of the warmest rooms in the house. So we've got the Velux in the ceiling because I like to have the room really cold at night. So they will all open on the smart system overnight, and if it rains in the night, they'll just automatically close. At least we're not going to be roasting in here through the night.
The work has taken over their lives for almost 2 years.
The build itself has just exceeded my expectations. I'm so proud of Jez because he's worked so hard.
Really enjoyed it. It's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, I've been working from 7 o'clock in the morning till 7 and 8 at night. This is what I enjoy, doing this type of stuff, like, you know.
And you do it very well, Jerry. The finish here is immaculate. Everything's been thought of. And upstairs is just as impressive as down here. The striking oak and glass floating staircase leads to 4 double bedrooms, 2 belonging to teenage daughters Bronte and Beatrice.
It's so much better than what we had in the bungalow, obviously, because I had to share a room with my sister, which is not ideal because it was so small, but it's so much more spacious and I can get on with like what I need to do in that room. It's really cool and it's like everything I need's in here, so I can literally just live in here if I needed to. I have to leave for food, but otherwise I'd literally stay in here all day. It's brilliant.
If I yell from here, no one can hear me. And I'm sick of making dinner and no one turning up. So I got them to install this, and you just press dinner alert. And it mutes all the televisions in the entire house and plays in every room.
And if we don't come down straight away, it goes off again. She'll ring it about 7 times before we run down. Yeah.
But the girls are enjoying some of the clever features in their new home. Like the laundry chute that goes straight from the first floor to the utility room.
It's so much easier. It's so much easier. Instead of running down with these massive laundry baskets, then you can just walk to the end of the hall and do it. And even though it's putting things in the laundry basket, it's very exciting.
So life has changed considerably for everyone since moving out of the bungalow and into the church.
It has been a challenge from start to finish, you know, but I do feel as though it's fantastic, actually. I'm really, really pleased with how it's turned out.
And it couldn't be more different from 2 years spent sharing one bathroom.
Felt like we were a bit hemmed in at times.
Enjoyable as well.
But yeah, we had a good time. It was a bit of an adventure. And we've moved on to the next phase and everyone's really, really happy in this house.